Hi guys, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program with Nitro. This is the start of my showcase series that I'm going to start that showcases all the really cool vehicles that I make, and I am now putting them all up for download. I created a folder on a Google Drive, and you guys will be able to have that link in the descriptions below, and just click on that and you can download a lot of cool vehicles I put in there. I'm not going to have all of them in the showcase series, but the majority of them I will. And so I want to start off by showing you guys this APC that I built here. This is a 6-man crew APC. It can survive quite the incredible impact force. If you do happen to crash it, don't worry, because your Kerbals will survive the crash. If you feel like doing rescue missions, go ahead. I've slammed into the moon in excess of 130 meters per second head-on collision, and Camden survived here, so it's pretty sturdy. In here you'll see the little command pod that I have up here, and below that is your hitchhiker crew, so you can put, well, I guess I lied, it was a 5-man crew. But you can put 4 Kerbals in there, 1 Kerbal in this main command hatch. It does have RCS, has RCS everywhere actually. You can see it over here on the side. And I also have RCS up here on the top. A couple more smaller tanks up here up front. And then there's also some rotational RCSs attached to the ends of the wheel bays over here. It does have solar panels. I have a group of action groups set up for pretty much everything, so I'm just gonna walk you guys through that here just so you can see how it does. So by pressing 1 on the keyboard for the action groups, deploys solar panels. And it may look a little ridiculous here, but when you're in space, the solar panels will help charge all of these ion engines that I have in the back over here. So that's a large group of like 9 ion engines that I was able to fit onto the back of this, I don't know what you call that, this plate. If you don't like it, that's fine, just pop a wheelie and it'll knock that right off and the rest of your craft will be fine. So hit 1 to retract those, and then, let's see, hit space to activate. You know, your ion engines are there powering up, you can see them all go. And if you hit 2 on your keyboard, it's automatic engine shut off for all those. Hit 2 again, toggles them back on, so that just toggles the engine there. Really cool feature of this is its ability to land and deploy again. So if you hit 3 on your keyboard, the landing struts come out here. And on the moon it works a lot better. It's not as, jiggly, but it still works pretty good. You can land pretty much anywhere with these things, and because it has such a wide base, or landing base, because they spread out like that, it's really hard to tip it over once you actually go in for a straight up, like, head-on landing. And whenever you do this, it does an autosave, so if you're driving around and you happen to crash, it'll just revert to the last time that you were at full stop. So I just like to have it like this just to remember, where I'm at, and it activates an autosave for you when you do it, so that's pretty cool. Hit 3 again, and it toggles your legs and just drops you right back down the ground there like that, packs up, and you're ready to roll out. Top speed on this thing on Kerbin, I think, is somewhere around 25 meters per second, somewhere around there. You don't want to go that fast on the moon, because if you hit a little bump, it's going to send this thing flying. So be aware of that. I would say the best top speed you could do on the moon is probably 16 meters per second on level ground. But yeah, hit 4 on your keyboard, and that activates all these little antenna arrays up here. You can see all those deploy. And 5 on the keyboard activates these vertical takeoff engines that I have over here. You can use these for landing assistance. You can use it to get off the moon or Minmus and get back into orbit around them. And they do have spare fuel. these things here aren't much, but there is a slightly larger fuel tank right here, right above this one up here on the cockpit. And that one there has 90 units of fuel. These ones have 180. So if you use this this inner tube back here, basically is what it is, and like this tire, and you fill that with like 10 units of fuel per fill, and you can transfer that evenly into both of these tanks on the front and back, so that'll keep your center of mass in the center, so that way you don't have to eyeball it. What else? It does have like smaller solar panels on the top to help keep it charged, and it has a lot of these thermoelectric generators in here. I just kind of stacked them in various locations. What else? It does have a lot of xenon gases. If you look at the resources, it's 13,500 xenon gas. So these ion engines on the back here, provided you're in the sun in orbit and you have enough electrical charge, these things can run for hours and hours and hours. So lots of fuel there. The only recommendation I might have for anyone who wants to modify this is putting like the deployable landing gear, like what you'd normally put on aircraft, on this, because as you can see, if I oscillate it here, it wobbles back and forth. Well, on a moon or something else, that's like amplified because there's less gravity and there's no air resistance. So when you do that, you can pop wheelies very easily. So if you have landing gear on the front and back that deploys, then that might help you stabilize it and not like rock back and forth like this. But yeah, it does stoppies, it does wheelies. It's pretty cool once you actually get it up into orbit. The download link will have the transfer vehicle that I designed for it, and that'll allow you to get it into orbit and also out to the moon. There should be enough fuel to get to Minmus, although I haven't taken this thing to Minmus yet, but I do have one currently deployed on the moon that I'll take you to shortly. Last thing I just want to show you guys is the vertical takeoff and landing engines that I have here. So I'm going to fire those up, provided that's not activated. Yep. There you can see it does a really good vertical takeoff just on Kerbin. They're fairly well balanced, although you will get a little bit of spin. Nothing to worry about. It is rated to land in atmosphere and moons and stuff, so that's what all these parachutes are for. You gotta have a safe landing. Not a whole lot of fuel in those things, but it's enough to get the job done for whatever you need to do. Deploy parachutes, and then also deploy your landing gear. A lot of parachutes there. But you can see it's still moving at a hefty, 9.4, 9.5 meters per second. It flexes a little bit if you land on Kerbin like that, but it's really not too bad. If you land on the moon and you're going 9.5 meters per second or faster than 10 meters per second even, it'll take it. It's a pretty sturdy craft. And then, you just turn your brakes off and drive along on your merry way. Here's what happens when you crash or go too fast on Kerbin. It just rips all the wheels off. Sets this thing up. So, that's that. Here it is in the vehicle assembly building. It does have ladders also on the inside here. You can activate those by hitting 6 on your keyboard, and that deploys the ladders on either side. Getting back up to it, into it, on anywhere with gravity is kind of challenging. Of course, on the moon, you don't even need to use those. You can just use your jetpack and jet up right through this open hole here and get back inside. So, not really necessary, but they look cool. If you deploy it up on these struts and then you deploy the ladders down, they do go all the way down. So I'm going to show you what the overall vehicle looks like here. So here's the full thing with the orbital transfer stage. And all it is basically is asparagus staging that goes all the way into the central component. And all of these nuclear engines will help get you out to wherever you need to go. I also included some solid boosters in here if you do feel like you need to use them to slow down or gain an extra boost of speed to go wherever you need to go. These solid boosters will help you do that. And then I have all the staging already set up here. This is how I have it saved right now for the one that's on the moon. If you want to just drive it around Kerbin and play around with it, go take off the whole transfer stage, and then when you go to actually launch it, you want to grab it and then hit Q to rotate it, or no, E, my bad. Hit E to rotate it so it's pointed 90 degrees left, and then hit launch, so that way it'll roll right off the launch pad, otherwise it'll be pointed and you'll have to turn it. It might just be annoying. So that's the craft, and now I'll take you to the one that I have currently on the moon, just so you can see some performance in low gravity. So here it is on the moon. Already a successful landing, and I've been driving around here for a little while. I was gonna head on over and try to check out some of the anomalies and Easter eggs that are on the moon with this thing, because you can drive around anywhere and go pretty fast. Used up a little bit of fuel in the rockets, but not too much. Again, you can hit 5 on the keyboard. See it there, hit 5 again to deactivate them. I believe, yep, ion engines are online. You don't really need to use the ion engines all that much. They will get you going, you know, with a nice and slow pace on level grade. But if you're going up a hill or something like that, even at full power, they won't really help you that much. So here you can see when I just like tap the brakes, it's already lifting up off the ground. So you got to be really gentle with the controls when you're on Moon or Minmus. And then again, if you don't like these things, you can pop them off by doing a really hard wheelie, which I'll try to do here. Oh boy. See, there's a stoppy, that's what I mean. You gotta be just so careful. Hit caps lock on your keyboard, that might help you, because that softens the controls. There you go. That's all you gotta do, just pop a hard wheelie. I know it looks pretty ridiculous, I hope you guys like explosions, but there you go. So that'll knock all of those ion engines off the back for you. If you like putting any additional attachments or stuff on there, it's cool. You can put stuff up on top of these batteries up here on the front. I did have probes up there, like probe missiles, and I was messing around with those, but not really necessary. And again, it does not really autosave until you stop moving, so as long as you're applying thrust here, you can get going up to a fair speed, and I'm just going to crash it for your enjoyment, and then just reload the autosave. Show you what I mean. So right now, this 24 meters per second, I do not recommend. If you try to turn at all, it'll probably send this thing flying pretty good. So here's a full crew that I have in here also. So there are 5 of them, not 6. Oh boy, there it goes. Yep, and that destroyed one tire. Knocked loose, but you can see the old pilot is still alive even after all of this. Still ripping itself apart. But yeah, if you do have a crash that's horrible like this one on accident instead of on purpose, or even on purpose, you can escape, and then the Space Center will be in orange. That means that your flight is still in progress and it hasn't autosaved yet. So if you click on that, it'll tell you, last save was 3 minutes and 45 seconds ago. So just leave, and then you go back to the Space Center, you would click on the craft, and it'll be in its deployed state. And that's all you gotta do. Like so. And there it is. Right where I left it. So good thing to remember if you get to a nice spot on the moon where you traveled a long ways and you just don't want to travel that kind of distance again, just stop, deploy the legs, and it'll autosave, and then you can just pack up and keep going. So it kind of helps you like lay down a checkpoint, I guess, that you can go back to. So it's really nice. As long as you're gentle with the controls and you don't really get going too fast on the moon, this thing works really well. It'll protect your crew. Might do some other interesting things with it, not sure yet, but hope you guys like it. Again, just click the link in the descriptions, go to the drive. This one is named Armadillo APC. Stay tuned for more episodes for the Showcase series, where I'll show off a lot of the other ships that I made and show you their performance, and check them out. See you guys later.